Hey, welcome to another podcast with NECKROOTS. I'm Kit James.
Austin Davis.
And we're bringing it to you live right now from the Neck Nation Power Station. Get plugged in. We're in it to win it today. We'll be talking about don't play the blame game.
Hey, the blame game.
The blame game is lame.
So, first thought comes to my mind when we talk about the blame game is that no matter how much we do it or how much everybody does it right, no problems have ever been solved while somebody was playing the blame game. And if you self-reflect, Neck Nation, I guarantee that no problem of your own has ever been solved while you were playing the blame game. And, you know, sometimes we talk about bad luck. And sometimes our bad luck is created by ourselves, right? We bring it on ourselves. And other times, it's just part of life, right? But if we sit there and talk about this bad luck, right, these parts of life, or sit there and blame these circumstances or this bad luck for things going wrong in our lives, those things are going to continue to go wrong in your life until you figure out that you need to stop blaming it and start solving it.
Yep.
Right?
You're absolutely right. You know what? If you focus on bad luck, you're going to grow bad luck. That's what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
So, talking about the blame game, everybody does it.
Sure.
Including me.
Yep, I'm in there with you.
I think it's a muscle memory or just a knee-jerk reaction, whatever you want to call it. But every human that's walked the earth has played the blame game, whether it's traffic, whether it's, extremes from one excuse to another.
Yeah.
Even a really, really good excuse, and this is how I raised the kids and dealt with employees in certain situations, just to set expectations. Even a really good excuse still is a shortcoming. It's still an excuse, no matter what.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
So we have to really be conscious and aware to be able to empower people when they're doing the blame game, make them recognize it, and we have to do it to ourselves. But I can't help to think, Austin, every single one of us plays the blame game. Some people are professional about it.
Yeah.
Right. And and their middle name's blame.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And they're good, even though you can see right through them, right? Because you've seen the end of that movie, and you're like, yeah, I don't believe a word they're saying.
Yeah,
they're ringing the bell and they're blaming somebody else. But at the end of the day, we all do it. We all participate. So I can't think how many mistakes and misfortunes and shortcomings have we had in our lives, right? Thousands. And then think of all the millions of people that have thousands of them in their lifetime as well.
All of us.
So here we all are, right, running around and making mistakes and having shortfalls and pains and failures and misfortunes, etc., whatever it is, showing up late to losing your job. I mean, whatever it is, we all have those problems. None of us are immune. Everybody has them, right?
Yeah.
And so you think that we would kind of equal or level the playing field a little bit and be like, hey, everybody has the problems, but we put game face on. And then we put blame face on, and then we grab that blankie, that blankie is just a secure little place to hide, so we don't have to take accountability for our actions. And when things don't work out our way, it's just kind of a knee jerk reaction, I think, to say, where can I unload this, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to hurt myself. You know, I'm self conscious or insecure about this or that, or I know I screwed up, and I don't want to raise my hand and say it, and so. I just don't understand why we all have mistakes. Why is it so hard for all of us to admit some of them, at least 10, 20% of them? I mean, let's just take a bag full.
No kidding. And I think, you know what, there's some truth bombs to this, Kit, that we have to admit to ourselves. The first one that came to my mind is those who continually place blame are also usually those who play the victim card.
Yeah. Right?
So truth bomb, Neck Nation. If you're always blaming other things, maybe you need to self-reflect and see if you're playing the victim card.
Yeah.
Because when you're playing the victim card, you're not motivated to solve anybody's problems, including your own, right?
Yeah.
Which is what we're talking about today. And then the other truth bomb to this is we place blame so that we don't have to acknowledge our own weakness. You said it's our blankie, right? It's our comfort zone.
Yep.
And, you know, it's a hard thing to admit when we're wrong or to admit our faults, right? I'm not saying that it's easy, but man, don't we owe it to ourselves,
Yeah.
right, to tell ourselves the truth and acknowledge our weakness and then improve upon it, right?
Yeah.
Instead of hide it.
Yep. I mean, I raised the kids, and I set the expectations pretty high for any teenage kid. You got to get to the job at 4:30 or 5 or whatever, in between 4 and 6 a.m. depending on the job and
Yeah.
the location. I mean, it's tough for grown men, let alone
Teenage boys,
yeah,
man.
teenage boys who do it on a repetitiously 5 days a week. So I used to always tell them, own your own shiz, right? If your shiz stinks, own it, dude. Raise your hand.
Yeah.
And take care of it. And then I used to always tell them, eat the frog. And what I meant by that was early in the morning, whatever problem you're facing that day or whatever situation you're in, get it out of the way first thing in the morning, man. Eat the frog. It don't taste good, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a little slimy, but get it out of the way because then it opens up the rest of your day. And so I would always tell them this stuff like, don't make an excuse. When you're chasing my truck, when I'm pulling away and you're late, and you got your boots in one hand, your belt in the other, and your pants are falling down, you're chasing the truck, don't make an excuse your alarm didn't go off or this or that. Just own your shiz, right?
Yeah.
And so one day, it was the funniest thing. We're on the job, and this is when they were 16 and could drive themselves, and they show up like 35 minutes late. And I'm like, what's up? And it was not a big deal because we were just setting up, and,
Yeah.
everybody wasn't there yet, but still, they were late. And my son looks at me, he goes, I had a seeing problem, Dad.
Yeah.
And I said, what the frick are you talking about, dude? You got pink eye or what? No, Dad, couldn't see myself getting out of bed.
Oh, no.
So I had a seeing problem. You know what? It was funny. I had to laugh,
Yeah.
right? But he owned his shiz. He just did it with a little humor.
Yeah.
So I was proud of him for that. But the truth is, we empower ourselves when we do that. When we don't play the blame game or put it on, well, I told my brother to hurry up and he wouldn't get out of bed or whatever.
Yep.
Because we've all done it. But it's just that's our knee-jerk reaction. It's just where we go.
Yeah. In fact, I have a couple examples. Can I share some examples here that I thought of? And maybe these are more relatable to some folks than they are to others. But let's say, and this has happened to all of us probably, but you're on your way to work, right? And whether, maybe there's an accident, or there's bad traffic, or, there's bad weather, and we end up being late to work. And we get there, and whoever, the boss, whatever, or just our coworkers, like, hey, what's up? You're late to work, whatever. Or we're all late to work, and we're all blaming, the accident, the traffic, the weather. Well, the reality is, it's your fault that you're late to work.
Right.
It's not the traffic. It's not the bad weather. It's not the accident. You know what you could have done to prepare for that? You could have got a weather app and looked at the weather the night before and determined, man, I need to leave my house a little earlier so that I can get to work on time. Or if there's a bad accident, maybe you should wake up earlier and check to see if there's accidents on the way to work so you know that you need to leave earlier, right? Or traffic or whatever it is. So there's a common situation where we place blame or make excuses for why we're late to work when it's really our own fault. And the other one that I thought of, Kit, is let's say you're on the job site, you've got inferior equipment, right?
Yeah.
And you got to get this job done. And at the end of the job, your work product just doesn't turn out very well. And the first thing that we go to do is blame the inferior equipment, right? When the reality is, before we did the job, right, we could have expressed to somebody, or at least the person we're doing the job for, that you're working with inferior equipment, and set expectations.
Yeah.
Right? You could have set expectations. So instead of blaming the inferior equipment, it's kind of your own fault for not clarifying up front and setting expectations, right? So there's a couple situations that, we normally are quick to place blame, but we need to take accountability for.
Yeah, and even when it's completely out of your control, traffic, unforeseen, whatever, and you could have got up earlier, you could have got a nap, or the equipment was inferior, whatever it is, you're to blame if you're the responsible party.
Oh, for sure.
So no matter, it's kind of that situation, that seat you sit in, right? It carries a burden of responsibility that comes along with it, and accountability. And even if it's your employees or whatever that completely screwed up, it's still on you.
Yeah.
No matter what, depending on where you're sitting, right?
Yep.
I can't go back to the customer and go, I know that turned out like crap, but guess what? wasn't my fault, man.
Yeah. No, you can't. It is your fault.
It is.
It is your fault.
At the end of the day, and it's hard to learn for any of us, but it's so, I can't even explain it. The more, like when someone's mad, have you ever seen someone just ticked? I mean, they're mad and you should have this and you should have that, and they're shitting all over themselves right in front of you. And your brain's clicking through 15, excuses of how to put it back on them.
Yeah, right.
Whatever, right?
Yep.
You're in the heat of the moment. And what I learned at not young, but in my 30s, what I learned early on in life and in business is they got nothing, bro, when you own it.
That's so true, man.
They got nothing.
They got nothing.
Bro, when they want to fight and they're throwing offense and you're throwing defense, bro, I'll sit there and swing toe to toe for hours with these guys. But you know what I realized, dude? The secret sauce, the one crunch punch, the knockout of all knockouts is own it.
Own it.
Even if it's not yours to own.
Yeah.
Own it. Because I did it, right? I did this. I remember this guy and he's going bananas on me and he's like, what do you got to say? I said, absolutely nothing. You're right, dude. It's on me.
Yeah.
And I go, but look, when I mess up, I fix up. So don't worry about it.
End of conversation.
And he sat there like he was still jittery. Like,
yeah, he wanted to go.
Yeah, he's still angry and he didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, okay, game's over.
Yeah.
I'm taking you out of the game, right?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. You think that defending yourself or using it, because we use that as a defense mechanism. We do.
We do. Yep.
To defend our pride, to defend our self-esteem, to defend everything that we're about, right? We don't want to be looked down upon for any way, reason, shape, or form, or whatever. But at the end of the day, you're looked up to and respected if you own it.
If you own it.
And it just doesn't make sense in the moment.
Yeah.
But the truth is, watch, next time someone's, getting growler with you and getting Western with you and getting all angry and it's on you, just say, you're right.
Yeah.
Man, I can't believe it. You're 100% right, but can you just tone it down a little bit?
Yeah, no kidding, right?
But you're right. And as soon as you take that away from them, they got nothing, man.
Right.
They can't come back at you.
Yeah. So, and I think in those situations, you end up gaining respect, right?
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, the person on the other end of that conversation or argument, whatever, is like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right. People don't normally do that, or people I interact with don't normally do that. And that's a big thing. So you gain respect. And you were talking about, excuses or times or why do we place blame or something like that. And there's, another truth bomb here. Kid.
Drop them, dude.
Drop them.
Pull the pin out of the grenade. Let's go.
I think sometimes we place blame in order to get one up on somebody, right?
Yeah.
So that we don't, this is part of playing the victim. This is the victim game.
You mean like I'm right, you're wrong?
I'm right, you're wrong type deal.
Yeah.
Or the, my misfortune. Oh, that's your misfortune. Let me tell you about my misfortune, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you why my life is going so terrible.
Yeah.
Right? And one up somebody in those situations, which is just it's unfortunate, right?
I know.
Because nothing is accomplished.
Right.
No action will ever be done as long as we're playing the victim card, right?
No, you're right. And when someone is and they just need to vent, truth is they need someone to listen.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And when you're going, me too, right?
Yeah.
And you're playing who's is, deeper than the me too's, and you're trading, blow for blow or low for low, whatever you want.
Low.
It just takes away, man. Sometimes, 80% of the conversation's listening.
Yep.
Right. So.
And then at the end of the conversation, right? At the end of the vent session, because it's okay to vent. It's okay to talk about this stuff. But at the end of the vent session, take accountability. Stop placing blame, and let's just go get stuff done, right? Let's not vent about it for months or weeks or years or whatever it is, right?
Yeah. So, there's a good outlet, a good exit segue that we use in the coaching world to kind of help identify. Because the thing is, if you think back, and someone listening right now is going, dude, I don't blame. I don't play that game.
Yeah.
I own my shiz. It's like, okay, just pay attention.
Yeah.
Because I try hard to do that as well, but guess what? Dude, no matter what, man.
Yeah.
So there was a time when, I was younger and I had fast cars and, man, I was getting pulled over all the time. So much so that I had to hire a driver. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lost my license.
Yeah, right. I remember.
Twice. That's bad, right?
That's bad, guys.
Yeah. So here I am, old Kit James, riding in the back seat of my own car, right? Like the Lincoln lawyer. It was bad, dude. It was. It was horrible because I like to drive, man.
Yeah.
I like accountability.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, anyways, I lost my license and that sucked. So, but I remember every time I get pulled over, dude, I had the best excuses for him. Whether it was highway patrol or county mountie, dude, I had the right one. I could read the animal coming up through the rearview mirror. I'm like, oh, watch this one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude, 100%. None of them worked. Right?
Right. No, they never do.
And so after I, got my license back and I got pulled over again for speeding, the dude comes up. He's like, you know how fast you were going? I'm like, way too fast. And he goes, yeah. You know how fast? I'm like, probably like 35 over. And he's like, and can you tell me why? I go, oh, 100% I cannot. I mean, there's no good reason why. I mean, I was just skinny pedal down because I can, and that's stupid, and I know, and that's my bad. So write me a ticket. I'll sign hard, all 3 copies, and I'm going to show up, and I'm going to pay it.
Yeah.
And it's all good, man. It's on me.
Yep.
You're just doing your job. Thanks for doing your job. And, no problem.
Sorry for being an idiot.
And they let me go.
Imagine that.
And it's like back in the day, dude, I tried it all. When I was frustrated, this one officer comes up, and he's like, the speed limit here, son, and he was mad. He was leaning in the window. It was 55 miles per hour. And I said, okay. And he goes, what do you got to say about that? And I go, I wasn't planning on being here an hour. Well, obviously, I'm speeding, man.
Yeah.
Right?
You got a ticket right there.
Bro, I got a ticket while I was sitting shotgun in his car. He was Angry Bird. Yeah. So the truth is, even when you get pulled over, I noticed every time I own it, I mean, there's, so they still should write you a ticket regardless. Yeah. But when I owned it, I'd own it every time until I just stopped speeding. That's how you really own it. Yeah. Right. But it was interesting that when I look back now and I see the reaction, because it don't matter if it was a good excuse. I mean, it don't matter. Yeah. Wife's water broke, whatever, dude. Whatever they don't care. No. So, but when you go, I know, my bad. Seriously, I was just being stupid. Okay. Well, don't do that ever again. Yeah. Right. So, you'll see it if you just start paying attention. You'll see it. But so when we blame, sometimes like I was saying, someone's sitting there going, "I don't blame," right? Or I don't make excuses or whatever. If you pay attention, you do. You do. Whether they're small or large or whatever, or they're not that often, you still do. Yep. It's just a defense mechanism that us as humans have, and we use it. Yep. We don't know why, but we do. We do. Right. And so at the end of the day, in the coaching world, there's a little example, a little study you can do to find out what is it that's preventing you. I mean, what are you blaming this on? What are you blaming that on? Or what excuses or what derails you in ultimately meeting your goals or your desired outcomes and your expectations? So you take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, and at the top left-hand corner, you put your goals. Write them down. Write them down. Top right-hand corner, write why I don't, reach my goals. Yeah. What are the reasons why I'm not achieving these goals? And write those down next to each goal. So if you achieve them, don't write nothing down, obviously. Yeah, right. Right, and you just keep track for 30 days. And as you go through and write it down and keep track of what's derailing you here, what's the bottleneck here, you'll start to see the excuses and the blame, and you're unloading some of your insecurities on this guy's plate or this guy's plate. And the truth is, we have to be the star of our own movie. And when we finally get to that place where desperation or inspiration are both motivational things, right? Yep. And desperation is good too. If we're in that place where we're like, dude, I'm sick and tired of being where I'm at. I want change and I want it to happen now. You can't expect someone to be the hero, man. Ain't nobody flying in with a cape. Nope. Ain't swooping you up. Nope. And taking you to the top. This is one of those things. It's just like everything else. It's priceless. It's precious. And it's hard work. And it's a fight. It is. Right? But it's worth it. Absolutely. It's worth it. So it's just one of those things that we have to know. Hey, it's not going to be easy. But no one's coming to save me. Right? Right. I got to be the star of my own movie and write my own script. And I got to do this on my own. And it's kind of fun when you do that because you take a lot of pride in it too. Yep. So as we talk about blame, there's a thing back, 49ers were playing the Rams. It was way back when. It was in the 90s. Okay. Okay. I don't know how old you were in the 90s, bro, but. I was young. You were young. I was young. But anyway, there's a legend Joe Montana, right? Steve Young played back up behind him for a little bit, and in his last year, he was on top of his game. He was just lights out. Every throw, every pass, every run. I mean, everything. He was good. Then he had another counterpart, Jerry Rice, who was also equally as good.
And
right?
I remember Jerry Rice.
Okay, yeah, wide receiver.
Yep.
And so during the playoffs one year, I'm watching that game, and Joe Montana, dude, he had a flawless game. To find a flaw in this guy's game would have been hard.
Yeah.
He was hitting Jerry right on the numbers. And Jerry used to catch stuff that was odd duck, man.
Oh, dude, he's one of the greats.
Yeah, if it was even in his range, he would get it.
Yeah.
Right? So here he is just tagging him right on the numbers, and timing was perfect. The two-step, everything was perfect. And Jerry was dropping balls like crazy. They end up losing the game, right?
Oh, man.
And you should have heard the reporters during the game. They're like, dude, Joe's got to be frustrated. Like what's going on with Jerry?
Yeah.
He don't drop balls like that. Those are like kindergarten passes for him. And so, they kept mentioning it. Well, we get to the post-game interview. I don't usually watch the post-game because I don't care. The game's over, right? Well, I wanted to watch the post-game because I wanted to see what Joe had to say about Jerry and what was going on. Like, did someone have the flu bug or
what's the deal?
Forget what their role was or what? So they interviewed Joe Montana, and right off the bat, here's the media getting all, right?
Doing what they do.
Stirring the pot, right?
Yep.
And they're like, Joe, what's going on, man? You had a flawless game. And they had all the stats. So they read through all the stats. You had this pass, this one was dropped, this one was dropped, second quarter, this one was dropped. And this is how many he dropped.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on, dude? Are you mad? Are you upset? And they want him to be upset.
Oh, sure.
And he looked right at him. Never forget his response. And he says, dude, it's on me. And they're like, what do you mean it's on you? You were dropping bombs right on his chest, and he couldn't catch them. And he goes, you don't understand. If Jerry's not catching the balls I'm throwing at him, it's my fault. And he goes, I'm the leader of this team, and it's on me. I take full responsibility for this loss. You can't put that on Jerry. He's a superstar. And they're like, you're a superstar. He goes, was I?
Yeah.
I obviously put too much heat on the ball, too much spin on the ball. My timing was a little off. Whatever it was, it's on me. I'm the leader of this team. And that's how he took the interview. And he goes, no more questions, and walked away. And it's like, and I don't remember what Jerry said, but after that, I was like, in my mind, I'm like, that dude is a true leader.
Absolutely.
Because if anyone had a hall pass to do the blame game, it would have been him right then and there because everybody seen it. Wasn't on him.
Right.
But he took it. That's the definition of a true leader.
Absolutely.
Right there. When Joe looks over his shoulder, dude, the whole team's following.
Yeah. And to go along with this, right? So he was the quarterback. He's the leader of the team. We're the leader of our stories.
Right.
Kit.
We are the star.
In a sense, we are a leader.
Yep.
Right. And we got to follow that example. Right.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Just own it. Own our lives.
Yep.
We're responsible for them.
As soon as we take control, that's when everybody on the outside influences lose control. Right?
I love that, dude.
And that's when we can really gain ground and start doing what we're made to do. That's when we start becoming.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So I got a story. We good?
We're good, dude.
Story time. So this is going to date me as well, but there's a thing that used to be called payphones.
Oh, yeah.
You probably
I remember payphones. Dude, I've used a payphone or two.
Wow. Probably when they were a quarter, not a dime, right?
Right.
So anyways, there's this payphone in this grocery store, and this little kid, he's so little that he goes in, it was just inside the storefront. And so the owner of the store was there, and he's, down the clerk. And so he was working right close to the little payphone. And here comes this kid, and he grabs this little milk box and, pulls it over and puts it in the phone booth up there, climbs up on top of it, puts his money in, starts dialing. And this kid's young, right? And so the store owner was pretty interested,
Yeah, paying attention.
He owns the market. He's an entrepreneur. He's just seeing what this little tyke's doing over there, moving his stuff around and dialing for dollars. What's he doing?
Yeah.
Right? And so he gets on the phone. He says, hi, ma'am. I just wondered if I could mow your lawn. He starts this sales pitch to this lady.
Yeah.
Lady says, no, I'm okay. I'm good. And he says, ma'am, I don't think you understand. You're going to have, I'll do such a good job. You'll have the most beautiful driveway on Sunday morning when people are out for a Sunday walk or going to church or whatever, they're going to see your lawn and they're going to just be blown away because I'm going to clean up the approach. I'm going to clean up the driveway. I'm going to clean up 5 feet into the street. And I mean, he's listing all these things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this dude's, he's closing.
Selling it.
He's a closer. This little tyke was getting after it.
Yeah.
And the lady says again, and on the pay phones, you can kind of hear if it's quiet, the other conversation. It's like having your cell phone on speaker.
Yep.
So this dude's really intrigued, and interested, and he's watching this conversation. This dude just hustling this lady for the job. He's like, I'll trim it every week, not every other week. I'll make sure this cleanup neat. And she's like, no, I already have somebody, but thank you for your time. She's trying to be polite, right?
Yeah.
This kid just keeps pressing. He doubles down. He's like, okay, so you got someone doing it? She's like, yeah. He goes, I'll do it for half price. Whatever they're doing it for, I'll do all the things I just mentioned, and I'll do it for half the price of the dude that's doing it.
Yeah.
And she sits there for a minute. She goes, I'm happy with the person that's doing it, and that's that. Yeah. So good luck to you, and best of luck, and thank you, okay? But the answer is no.
Dang it.
Not changing.
Yeah.
Kid hangs up the phone, sits down on the milk crate, and the store owner, he looks at him, and he's just impressed. He's like, look at that little grinder, right?
Yeah, dude.
Over there on the hustle. Good for him. And so loved his attitude, loved everything about him, everything he represented. Store owner goes over, he says, hey, man, heard you on the phone talking to that lady. You need a job? Look, I can have you in the back doing this. I'll give you a job because I love your attitude and your tenacity, and you're hired. What you want to work out the terms? And he goes, I don't need a job. I'm good. And he goes, wait. I'm confused, man. I just heard you on the phone hustling that lady for work, and you were doing everything except for throwing out tears saying you needed work.
Yeah.
I'm giving you work, and I'm going to pay you for the work. Like, I don't think you understand. What you were asking her for, I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah.
And the kid goes, no, sir, I don't think you understand. I don't need a job. I don't need work. What I was doing was a self-appraisal and making sure that I was doing good work, because the person that cuts that lady's grass is me.
Yeah.
And I was just making sure that I was doing a good job.
Yeah.
And you can't help but just go, wow.
Right.
Talk about self-appraisal, self-awareness. Not only is he trying to do a good job when he's on the job and communicating with the lady, he goes behind her back and doubles down and calls and, make sure that when she's talking to someone else, that's when you really find out, right?
Yeah, how good you are.
That kid not going to be blaming anybody, bro. If he loses the job, it's on him.
Absolutely.
Right? Because of his attitude and the way he's being self-aware, taking self-appraise. He's taking inventory.
Yep.
Right? And he's getting after it. And so, when you think about all this, the blame game, there's so many things that go into it. And a lot of them are emotional, right? Forgiveness is another one. It's the twin sister of blame.
Sure.
Right? And and anytime you figure out when you blame and why you blame, and you fix it, you empower yourself. Forgiveness is the same way. You can get, when someone's hurt you and you got bitterness and pain and all these things, right? It don't matter. There's always 2 or 3 people involved in forgiveness. It doesn't, the most important person is us.
Yeah.
No matter what the other person did to us, it doesn't matter. It's us.
Yeah.
If we can unload our backpack and say, hey, there goes the bitterness, there goes the pain, there goes all the hurt, right?
Yep.
It doesn't mean you have to invite them over for barbecue and let them back into your life, depending on the situation. It just means you let it go.
Yeah. And
you know what happens when you let it go, dude? It's like dumping the dump truck, man.
Weight off your shoulders.
Yeah. Now you're ripping and running. You're light again, right?
Yep.
You're 5th gear.
Yep.
So blame and forgiveness, they're kind of related. And if we can take what we learn and what we identify from blame and unload it and get rid of it, and be self-aware like that little kid on the phone, double checking, taking some self-inventory, right?
Absolutely.
I'm telling you what, we'll win, because the destination's up to us. We're driving. And if we're riding shotgun, dude, we need to throw whoever's driving, because it's our life. We're in charge.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're a dad or a father or a parent, you're also in charge of someone else's life, and they're looking at you for an example. And so it's important,
It
right?
is.
Because the little things you say, man, they pick up on it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Oh yeah, my kids they pick up everything.
They don't
I
miss
say.
nothing.
Nope.
So if there's one thing I can say about the blame game, it's this. If you said, hey, Kid James, I'm going to give you the opportunity to just kick the pants, kick the butt of this dude that's making all this grief for you and all these problems and all your misfortunes and all your, missteps, whatever. You can kick him in the butt as many times you want. Bro, I wouldn't be able to stand up for weeks.
Yeah.
That's the truth. It's on us. It's on me.
It's on us.
Right? I can't put it on nobody else.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
well, that's the message for today, Neck Nation. Right? We got to do a self-evaluation. That's kind of a theme with these podcasts here, and with what we talk about is self-evaluation.
That's a theme with growth.
That's a theme with growth, right? We aren't going to be able to progress. In fact, Neck Nation, one of the best ways to progress is to take accountability for our weakness and for our faults, and then go out and fix them. So let's do that. Let's solve our problems. Let's take accountability. Let's be leaders of our own life. Let's kick our own butts if we need to. Right, Kit?
Yeah.
But we'll leave you with that. Be sure to like and share this video. The more people that the more you like it, then the more people get to see it, right? We've got to beat that YouTube algorithm, whatever it is. Yep. We're also on social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Look us up. We post some good content. And then if you like the gear we're wearing, neck hats, neck shirts, go to www.neckroots.com and check them out, right? But we'll leave you with that, and bless up, Neck Nation.
Thanks for being with us. Bless up.